So, Robert, firstly, we would like to thank you for allocating your time to chat with us, having a busy schedule. You are an individual who has been redefining the boundaries of electronic music since the early 90s, as we all know. Could you share what was your first experience was like getting hooked on with music? What influenced you, and how did your journey begin?
Um, I started making music exactly
Hmm.
in 1990, so 30
Okay,
years ago.
okay,
At,
all right.
at that time, I was at high school,
Mm-hmm.
and basically techno started.
Okay.
This was the beginning of techno at all, and I mean, for me, it was like I don't know. I thought this will be a music revolution,
Yeah.
and I was with one other guy. We were only two people on the whole school who were
Okay.
listening to this strange kind of
Into
music.
So it was kind of alien to the rest. They were
Yeah,
wondering since techno
completely.
was really new,
And
completely.
I I told everyone this. Believe me, this will be the music of the future.
That's great, Robert. So just wanted to check now. I believe you were born in Poland and
Right.
then you moved to Germany. So did you start getting into electronic music when you were at your early childhood in Poland, or it started off when you moved
Now,
to Germany?
my parents moved to Germany when I was 5 years old.
All right. Okay.
So no, I got into electronic music quite early with Jean-Michel Jarre and I mean 80s music. I'm quite old already, you know.
Ah, yeah, yeah. That's
So,
great. So how was the industry like back then when you were when you were rising up in Germany? For instance, like were there any challenges which you faced to get your first gig and down the line in your career?
I mean, in the beginning, the whole scene was very, very small. There were like
Hmm.
100 people maybe in my town,
Hmm.
and all the parties. It was underground. There was, I
Yeah.
mean, we people were finding old places where they put a sound system in, a fog machine, and a strobo light,
All right.
and the party was going on. You know, like very, very basic, and we all loved this. So in the beginning, there was no money. Nobody really thought you will have a living out of this. We all
Right.
made this because we loved this kind of music.
So passionate
And
about it.
yeah, and it took some time till,
Hmm.
I mean, in the beginning, I was like getting 10, like it was German marks, but let's say in euro, it's like maybe 5 euro or 10 euro for a gig, you know.
Okay. All right. That's crazy.
But I loved it, and back then even uh, like big artists like Sven Väth or Carl Cox, they were
Yeah.
like big, like already very known, and they were
No.
like getting 200,
All
and
right.
everybody was like, wow, 200.
Sounds great. Sounds really interesting about how things have been while you're growing up.
Yeah.
Robert, so another quick question which I wanted to ask. So you are someone who embraces spirituality and humbleness, and which is very rare in today's world, and we really admire such way of life, to be honest. How have your life experience shaped the way you make music and find inspiration?
Mm. Actually,
Mhm.
because this is the way of how I live.
Mhm.
Um, for me, the whole music thing is not a business. It's a way of living, you know. It's
Yeah.
it's my daily routine,
Yeah.
and be influenced by nature and everything is for me it's something totally normal, and share the love for everything
Mhm.
is normal. And in the end, I I just do the music for myself.
Yes.
It's like my it's I do the music that I want to listen to,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just happy that people want to hear this, and
Mm-hmm.
I can have a living out of this. But I'm not doing music for others or being famous or earning a lot of money. I'm just happy I
By
can have a,
making
you know, I I
that,
I I still love it even after 30 years.
yeah. Something that I believe most of us will never get fed up of music.
Yes.
That's great, Robert. So you recently released your album Utopia on systematic recordings,
Mhm.
which was released, I believe, about almost a week back.
Right.
Uh,
Mm.
so, to be honest, it is an absolute hit, topping the iTunes chart in US as well, as we've seen. And for instance, just to let us know, or let your fans know about what inspired you artistically to compile this 13-track masterpiece. And do you have any special story behind this album?
Um, Actually, this is the fourth album on Systematic, and every time I'm doing this,
Mm-hmm.
this is like I mean, on let's say on Utopia,
Mm-hmm.
I worked
Mm-hmm.
between 3 and 3.5 years.
All right. Okay.
So it's a very personal album, like all my albums. It's somehow the soundtrack what happened to me in the last 3 years
All right. Okay. So the whole the lifespan of 3 years, which was compiled into a whole album. So
into a right.
that's great. And from the out of this album, so if you were to choose one particular track, what would it be, and why it would be special for you?
Oh, I
Yeah.
impossible because it's like 3 years and it's already extremely compressed.
Compressed. That's great.
uh, every track is like a baby,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and so I love all of them. And in the end, the whole album is for me it's like it's an artwork in
Mm-hmm.
itself because
Mm-hmm.
it's telling this story,
Sure.
and just dive in and you will find new elements for long time because there
Mm-hmm.
are thousands of layers of stuff going on. You will not hear on the first time. You will maybe hear when you heard the track like 50 times.
3 times. We'll start here in the hidden elements. Okay.
You will find some details. Oh wow, yeah,
Oh,
this. Oh, uh,
and this wasn't there before. Last time I was listening.
yes,
Great.
it's on
Just like, sorry, I beg your pardon?
it's all on purpose.
All on purpose. So, Robert, so let's get into a bit of more of like a technical side of your production process. So, we have noticed. Beg your pardon.
Mhm.
Sorry. So, personally, we've noticed a lot of that analog modular sounds that you use on your music, and the rhythmic elements are being improvised in a very unique way. Could you take us through your production process, like any particular routine you follow when you're working, like when you start working on music?
And now people write me here. Yeah, my modular system is growing. Actually, I never
Mhm.
wanted to go into this whole modular topic.
Modular. Okay.
The
No.
the thing is, I just started with this modular because, as you know, I'm also a mastering engineer,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I mastering for many people, and
Yeah.
there was a few years back one client who couldn't pay me, and he
Mhm.
offered me some modules.
In exchange.
And I said, okay, I'm not really interested. But then I was trying them out and I had
Mhm.
fun. Uh, and actually, I use the modular as a sound source and also as an effect unit, I would say. mainly. It's like a very it makes fun. You can touch things and do
Improvise.
crazy things, improvise. And one very, I think, an important thing with modular or hardware in general is something that is completely missing in the software world is having happy accidents.
Yeah.
When
Happy
things go when things go wrong, but they
Yeah.
sound amazing, you know?
Got your point. Got your point.
And this is something, software is always perfect. It makes exactly what you want, and it's, you know,
Yeah.
but here you can do things wrong.
Wrong.
And the wrong can be exactly the thing that was missing, you know?
And the thing that you were looking for, that specific sound that you were looking for. All
Yeah.
right.
And it's for as an when you are in the flow, it's very important that you are not focused so much on controlling everything. Sometimes it's good just to accept things happen and try to get things together.
Got it.
You know, it's take your ego away and let things happen.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And Robert, moving on to the next question that we wanted to cover in this interview. What do you use most of the time, and what would be your top three plugins or hardware gears
Yeah.
that you use in your production tools?
My main DAW is Logic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using Logic since version 2, I think, so for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It feels very natural to me. I'm using Ableton for my live sets.
Live sets, okay.
As I think Ableton is like for real time creation better.
Better, okay.
But in for mixdown and really having control over a track, I prefer Logic.
Right.
And for plugins, I would say my favorite production plugins are coming from Plugin Alliance.
Okay.
They are like my go-to things when I'm doing mixdowns.
Great, that's great. Talking about going live, so I believe most of the sets, the live sets that you play are live or hybrid. Do you do it in a mixture? How does
Yeah,
that work?
they are hybrid. I mean, I have like 3 different versions. There is one where I play the old school way. It's when people book me under my old name, Rob Acid. Then it's just machines and 100% improvised and no computer at all. Just machines, you know, stuff like,
Yeah.
you know, this one. Yeah, completely improvised, analog gear, drum machines stuff. Then I have a hybrid system where Ableton and maybe 1-2 Electron machines and maybe some, I don't know, the Pioneer SP16 and like a few machines.
Yeah.
And then a very small setup when I'm traveling a lot is just Ableton with thousands of files. But in general, my live sets are not prepared in a way that I can play 1 hour or I can play 10 hours.
Yeah.
And no problem, you know.
How it goes on. That's great. That's great.
The thing is, because I released over 1,000 tracks already.
Okay.
So I can for a week.
For a week consecutively. That's true. Of your own material.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So Robert, so I wanted to ask a very interesting question, which could be related to what's happening nowadays. So we are in an age of a global pandemic, all right. So with many countries going under lockdown, and affecting the nightlife industry globally. Anything positive you learned out of this, and how are you setting in with the new reality?
Um, I mean, the lockdown or the whole situation for all the artists is really hard, because we all
Yeah,
lost our income and the way of living.
yeah,
Um, but there are also good things with this, where like personally, for me, it's like a nice way of asking yourself why you do things, and and because we are not making music for dance floors only right now, because there are no dance floors. um, we have a big chance of losing the borders that were like around, you know, around every this closed border. Everything, you just have progressive house, you have tech house, you have techno, blah blah blah.
yeah,
It's all bullshit.
yeah.
Now we just have electronic music or music in general, and
In whole thing.
if the music is touching you, it's great. If it's not
Right.
touching you, it's you don't need to listen to it.
Listen to it. Yeah. So what you're saying is that there's no boundary for music. There's no boundary between genres from tech house to progressive. So it's as in like more of as a whole in one as electronic music. Great.
Yeah,
It suits us.
there
It
are,
suits
you don't have to limit yourself to one
one.
little thing. The world is
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
There's so much.
I
So
understand.
be open-minded, and you will have a lot of fun.
Fair enough. And
Endless.
in your productions, Robert, so do you stick to particular genre, like when you're building sounds or designing the sounds, do you want it to, you want to make sure that this should sound like progressive or this should sound like techno whatsoever?
No, I completely don't I don't care about all the styles, and
Hmm.
that's one of the reasons why I started. When people ask me what kind of music are you doing,
Yeah.
and then I had to explain, because 30 years of different, I
Hmm.
made many different things. I
Hmm.
was just tired of explaining, and I started to say I do Babbitt style.
Babicz style. Yeah.
and and
Yeah.
I think that should be, every artist should find his way of doing things. I'm not part of a progressive movement. I'm not, techno. I'm not ambient. I'm just myself
Babicz
exploring the
style.
world of sounds.
Yeah.
So it's Babbitt style.
That's great. That's great. So, Robert, like, would you like to share with us what do you do away from music?
Um, I am growing chilies in my garden
All right. Okay.
because I love spicy food.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking care of wild cats, and
Okay.
my something like my hobby is taking pictures,
Mm-hmm.
loving natures, getting inspired by little details here and there,
Mm-hmm.
and be open-minded. I don't own a TV, so I'm not distracted by bullshit.
Yeah. That's fair enough. Fair enough. That's great. So, because I think nowadays what you watch on TV is like not what you want to watch. Yeah, what the
Yeah.
media wants you to watch. Yeah.
Actually,
Anyway. Yeah.
Actually, I had a TV 25 years ago, and I was throwing this out of the window
All
because
right. It
literally
has bullshit.
it was too much bullshit.
And you couldn't bear it
Yeah, and since then I'm way more happy.
without a TV. That's great. So, Robert, before we wrap up, I just have one last question for you.
Hmm.
As we all know, over the years, technology has evolved in many ways, and it seems like music production is often made easy today with plenty of newcomers releases that are mushrooming in the industry. Despite the music, either it's good or bad. Would what would be your best advice for all the aspiring producers out there to be real to their piece of art?
Actually, there are. It was never so easy to make music like these days. That's like really. It's. I mean, you just need a computer and you can download some free software and you can work, with stuff. But there's a problem with a lot of music sounds like music, but actually it's just like it's playing Lego. You know Lego?
Yeah,
All those little things. Most of the people just play Lego. They don't make music.
Music.
And if you really make music, that means you really connect to the matter of sound and you create your stories. It's not about being just cool and having some beats that you download from somewhere. Create a let's say something like strong. A musician is like a god. You create a universe. So be a god and create, really. You don't need all this stuff from outside. Create it yourself. There is a universe inside you, and you can bring this out as an artist.
And be true to us.
Have the passion and do it.
That's great. That's great. And Robert, to be honest, like we would like to thank you so much for allocating your time out of once again. I believe you must be busy with your mastering works, productions, likewise, and still you allocated the time to speak to us. On behalf of Island Inc. And on behalf of your friends, we would like to thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you.